Chad from Flash Performance here, ready to work on a new Ford truck. Okay, it's not new, and I probably need to get my tetanus shot updated. Welcome to the Flash Performance shop. I had a friend of mine bring me his daily driver slash what he called beater to do a little repair work on it. One of the spring shackle mounts had completely rusted out of the truck, so I had to replace that. And while I had it in the shop, I said, hey, you might want to replace your radius arm bushing because it is almost completely gone. He said, it'll be okay, we'll run it. It's a beater. Well, that same night he said, hey, we probably need to replace that radius arm bushing. Let me show you why. So on these Ford trucks, they have a radius arm that goes from the front axle to the back, and this is the way a radius arm bushing is supposed to look. It's supposed to have a metal piece, a bushing, the mount, and another bushing on the back side. Well, this is what he brought me. There is no bushing, and what's left of a bushing. So as this thing goes down the road, it rattles, clanks, and bangs and beats. So we gotta fix that, and to fix that, we gotta get that nut off. And that nut has been on there a very, very long time. So this truck has a special feature from the factory called underbody lubrication. Keeps it from rusting, supposedly, but mainly what it does is it just puts oil everywhere. And I tried to use the torch to get that nut loose, and all it did was light the truck on fire. So a torch is out of the question, which brings me to my newest tool. So I'm not one of those guys that has to have every new tool as soon as it comes out. I like to take my time, and who am I kidding? I love to have new tools. And I've been looking and eyeballing this tool for a while. This is from Bolt Buster, and this is an inductive heating element to be able to take nuts and bolts off of your vehicle. I picked this up on Amazon. Let me show you what's inside here. And heat induction is not new to the industry or to manufacturing by any means. We've been using induction heat to be able to manufacture for many, many years. However, the challenge was always making it affordable and making it handheld. Bolt Buster has come to the market with a phenomenal product that I've been looking at for a while, trying to figure out how to justify having it. And I have done that today, and it is going to be so much easier to have this, because every time I have to get that torch out to loosen a bolt or to heat something up, I always thought about having one of these Bolt Busters to be able to do that process. So this is the heat induction tool. This is where our connections would be made. And this is a 1,000-watt tool, and it gives us the ability to produce 1,000 watts of inductive heat into these coils. Let's get the coils out. The coils are really the secret to making this all work. And this set, as you can see, comes with a lot of different options for coils. We have options for big, medium, and small. And the idea when you use these is to make sure that it just barely goes around the device that you're trying to heat, whether that be a nut or a pipe or anything along those lines. So they go from very big to very small. And the more contact that you can get around that bolt or nut, the better off you're going to be. You don't want to use something huge like this for a tiny little 1/4 bolt, because it won't heat up very well. But also in this kit, they have this guy, which is very flexible. And this is a style that can wind around, so we can wind it around something. Let's say that we're trying to loosen up a tie rod end and you can't get it off. So you want to wind this around the tie rod end and heat it up, and then you can loosen it up that way. So that's a pretty slick outfit to be able to use one of those as well. Now that's the kit that I bought on Amazon, but it also has other pieces that you can add to it. This is an inductive mat, and this would be used for taking off stickers. So you can use this to heat up an area and take off emblems or stickers. So that works out pretty cool. And this one is to be able to heat up metal. So we have like flat panels, If we wanted to heat up a flat panel, we can do that by putting this down on the metal. It would heat it up pretty quickly to be able to expand or contract that. A lot of bodywork guys will use this to be able to heat that metal and cool it real quick, and then it'll make it shrink back in. So if you have a wave in your metal, you can pull that back in and make it tight again. So these are accessories that you can get with it as well. A pretty complete set and a pretty easy setup. Let me show you how this works. When we're looking at our bolts and hardware, whatever we want to heat up, we don't want to heat up the stem or the bolt part of it. We only want to heat up the nut. That way it will expand, and that way we can take it off or break the rust loose or whatever is holding it tight. When I talked about the different size coils, we want to make sure that that coil fits over that nut pretty tightly. You don't want to have a bunch of gap or space on it, but yet we also don't want to necessarily have it rubbing on there. We want to have just a little bit of a gap so it can create the induction and heat up only the nut. Whenever we heat this up, if we leave it on there too long, we can heat up the whole bolt and the nut, and that just defeats the purpose of the whole process. Now that we found the right style coil, we're going to take that and we're going to put it into our induction tool. And your induction tool is going to have nuts on both sides. So we're going to take that and we're going to loosen up those nut screws on both ends until that coil can fall down in there. We're going to bottom that out and we're going to tighten it down the rest of the way. Now, the coil doesn't have to stay straight. We can bend that if we need to be able to get at an angle. So we have a lot of options when it comes to that. So now we have our coil in, we have it locked down pretty good, and we have our nut that just barely fits inside that coil. Let's heat it up and show you how it looks. So this is my thermal imaging camera, and we're going to switch you over here so you can see it. Now again, all we want to do is just heat up the nut part of it. We don't want to do the whole thing. So we will put the coil over the nut. There's turning red. And you can see that it's heated up to about 1,000 degrees right now. If I pull that off, about 900 degrees that bolt is, or that nut is. And that took no time at all. I didn't have to worry about having a flame on it or what was behind that flame. All right, let's get this thing working on the truck. I got work to do. So here's what I've done to get to this point. I soaked that for probably 4 days with penetrating oil, trying to get that to break free. If I put a ratchet on there and try and twist it, it actually twists the whole radius arm. Whenever I tried to use a propane torch, it didn't get it hot enough and really didn't do anything. So I got the acetylene torch out, and when I did that, it tried to put fire up through everything and catch the oil on fire, and it was just a big mess. So I have gotten the correct size coil in my bolt buster. I'm going to apply heat to that nut, and then I'm going to use my impact to hammer on it a little bit to see if we can break that thing loose. I got my birth control goggles on. If you don't understand that, you can put a question in the comments below. Let's see what happens. When I tried to use the torch on this, caught all the rubber on fire, melted one of the bushings out. And think about trying to use a torch to get the top of that nut hot. How impossible that would be. Oh, here we go. We're getting some color now. We got that guy red hot all the way around. Just the nut. I don't want to get the stud threads part hot. Woo! Yahtzee, baby! Yahtzee! I am over the top impressed with this tool. It made my life so much easier. I fought with that thing for days. If you're thinking about getting a new tool for the shop and you work on anything, chassis, suspension, wheels, exhaust, anything like that, you need to look into this product. So I got it on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below, but this just absolutely blows my mind of how well it worked. Don't forget to pick up some of the extra added features that I talked about. This one takes off the stickers and emblems, and this one is for connecting directly to your metal panels to be able to heat those up. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Let me know if you have one of these things, and let me know what you think about it. I'm Chad from Flash Performance. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.